Hi everyone, welcome to Mike's Mopar Garage. For you guys that have been following me over the past couple months, you'll notice I haven't posted a video in quite a while. The reason is that my normal job, I'm a welding inspector by trade, and I had to travel out of town to do some work, and it took me a little longer than I expected. So I've gotten back and able to start working on the car again, but I had some setbacks, and then that has prevented me from making some videos as well. And I wanted to give you an update on what's going on with that situation. So many of you know that my car is a 1968 Dodge Charger, and I restored it in 01, and I'm doing some upgrades and modifications to it. And one of the upgrades is the brakes. So when I did the restoration back in 01, I changed it from drum brakes to disc brakes on the front. I was able to pull the entire brake assembly, the rotors, calipers, and spindles off an 85 Fifth Avenue. Bolts right up, work perfectly, it aligned perfectly, and the thing drives like a dream. However, the brakes just never really did work good. So I changed the proportion valve, I did a few other things, and come to determine that the booster was just not getting enough vacuum, and therefore the booster was not working properly. So I wouldn't get enough pressure to the brakes, and they just didn't work as optimum performance as they should, and I just kind of dealt with it. So over the years I've tried a few things. One of the things I tried was a vacuum assist booster. It's a standalone vacuum pump that you can hook up to the brake booster. I tried that and it works. I mean, I get tons of vacuum out of it, about 20 to 22 inches of vacuum, which is plenty, but the thing is crazy loud. I could hear it running over the exhaust of my car, and I run Flowmaster Super 40s, which are not quiet by any means, and I was just not happy with that. So I pulled that off and started looking at other alternatives, and the way that I decided I think that I was going to go is a hydraulic HydroBoost system. So with that, there's many different companies out there that sell kits and components to install a HydroBoost system. I posted some questions on social media, some of the Facebook Mopar pages and so forth, and I got a reply from one of the vendors that sells these kits. And this vendor indicated that they had a full kit, a bolt-on kit that would work, that they've sold in many of these, and they have many satisfied customers and so forth. I looked at their website, I sent and asked many more questions, I asked for some pictures. They sent everything to me. So I heard everything that I thought that I wanted to hear. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger to go ahead and buy their system. So some red flags immediately started popping up, and those were initially on the initial order. They told me it was going to be 1 to 2 weeks to get the order, which was fine. I could deal with that. 4.5 to 5 weeks later, I still hadn't got my kit, and I was getting the runaround on the phone. I would text them or call them and ask them questions, and it was just one excuse after another. Finally, after about 5 weeks, I got the system in. Red flag number 2. The boxes that they sent it in were used boxes from previous shipments, from either somebody else sending something to them or whatever, but the boxes were in horrible shape. They were beat up, tape all over the place holding them together, and quite frankly, I was a little shocked that some company would send their stuff out in boxes that were that tore up. So I was really shocked that when I opened the boxes, all the parts that were in it were in good shape. There was no damage to them whatsoever. So I was very relieved. The one thing I do want to mention is that when I did open the parts, the quality of the parts that I saw, I thought were very good. The hose kits were good, the fittings I thought were excellent, and the HydroBoost booster system itself was a Bendix unit, a Bosch Bendix unit. I thought it was a great unit, and it was brand new, it looked good, but that's where it ended. So I noticed that the mounting brackets to mount this system onto the car didn't look right. So after going out and comparing and looking at it and doing some measurements, it was determined that the brackets that they made to connect this system and bolt it to the firewall were wrong. The bolt pattern was incorrect, and it, in my opinion, was just a bad design. And that was not indicated how it was going to be when I talked to them and seen pictures and so forth prior to ordering the kit. So I immediately contacted them and said, hey, this is what's going on. I sent them pictures. I sent them measurements of the bolt pattern of the original booster that came off the firewall and the mounting locations of that, so that the mounting brackets for this new HydroBoost system could bolt back up into that system. I was concerned with where the HydroBoost would bolt to the firewall to make sure that the alignment was correct and that the push rod going through would bolt up and connect properly to the brake pedal, so everything would be in alignment. It was horrible. So when I brought this to the attention of the vendor, their reaction was, well, just drill some new holes. Well, as many of you, if you have a numbers matching car that you spend tens of thousands of dollars and hundreds, if not thousands of hours restoring and fixing up, the last thing you're going to do is just start drilling some new holes in it. So I told him, no, that's not an option. What I paid for was to get brackets to bolt up into the original bolt pattern, and that's what I wanted. His reaction was, and he basically says, F you, that is what it is. And that's exactly what he said. He used some vulgar words, he cussed me out. And when I brought it up to his attention that, hey, this is not right, he says, well, if you want me to make a new bracket, it's going to take another 2 to 3 weeks because I'm busy. Again, I was shocked. And all of this was on speakerphone, and I had a witness to all this whole telephone conversation. So if it ever came up, I do have witnesses to it. And it's just not me complaining. So after going back and forth saying, hey, this is not right. I don't spend all this time and money on a car to kind of have a shady system, way of bolting up this component up to my car. Well, he didn't like that either, and the cuss words started flying. So right then and there, I decided, I'm not going to do business with this vendor anymore. So my question to him was, can I just send this back and get my money back and get a return? Reluctantly, he agreed, but he immediately said he was going to charge me a 15% restocking fee. Now, any company that I know of that's reputable and knows that they made a mistake or anything, and especially car companies, because they're a different breed. We always take care of each other. At that point, I didn't care. I just decided, you know what, I'm going to send it back, take my hit. It's my bad for not doing maybe enough research, and I'm just going to take the hit of the 15%. So I boxed up the equipment, by the way, in brand new boxes. I packed up that equipment and spent more money on the shipping than the original vendor, which is quite sad. So I sent it all back to him. 1 week goes by, 2 weeks goes by, 3 weeks go by, several phone calls and text messages. I still hadn't gotten a refund. He kept telling me a refund was going to happen. I'm going to get an email with a confirmation. Never happened. I finally gave him basically an ultimatum that I needed to get my money back, or I was going to escalate this further. So I finally got my money back, but instead of the 15%, they charged me 23%. So they kept 23% of my money as a result of them providing crappy service and a crappy product. So this just leads me to say that, unfortunately, we have some vendors out there that, even though their intentions may be good, their execution is pretty poor. And as a reaction to cuss us out and give us a hard time is just sad, and it's sad in this industry. And it gives guys that are spending their hard-earned money, blood, sweat, and tears on their cars, and to get they need the support from these vendors. It's sad that I had to go through this. So now that I'm a much more informed buyer, I did a little bit more research and come across another company. And you can only imagine the questions and pictures and information that I demanded to see from them. And boy, I wish I would have seen them the first time, because they are exactly who I want to do business with. Their products, every question I had with vendor number one of why they didn't do something, vendor number two does it already. And with their billet mounting brackets, how it mounts to the firewall, and the products and the support I wish I would have done business with them the second time or the first time. So what I'm going to say is that stay tuned. These parts are on order, and it's going to take 30 days or so. That's another big deal I don't understand, but vendor number 2, and they must be behind. It's going to take about approximately 30 days to get these parts in. So in the meantime, I have some other special things that I'm going to do in the meantime of providing videos on my car. Here in South Florida, as I've told many of you, we have the luxuries of having car shows year-round. And many of you in the country know about one of the biggest car shows in the country, and it happens in November at Thanksgiving. It's the Daytona Turkey Rod Run. I'm going to be there. I will not have my car, but I will be there and take video footage and interview some owners and show you some of the cars that are at Daytona. For you guys that have never been there, it's anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 cars over a 4-day period, and it's unlike anything you've ever seen. The swap meet is incredible. The car corral for cars for sale alone will be over 1,000 cars. So most of the time they're close to 2,000 cars, just the cars for sale. So if you get a chance, I would highly recommend it. It starts Thanksgiving Day and runs to Sunday. We will be there, so if you happen to see me out and about and taking some video footage, stop by and say hello. We'll try to maybe get you on camera or something, and I hope to see you there very soon. Thanks again. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so I can bring you some more videos. We have some exciting stuff coming up. And stay tuned for the next video. I'll have some information on that. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.